It's time again for the Science Bowl.
Zoo parade for 5. What big teeth the hippo has are actually a pair of these. Science potpourri for 10. Would a snake most likely eat every day? Every week, Dateline Science for 10. Why are some elephants wearing necklaces these days? Green things for 15.
And now, here's your host, Mr. Z himself, Dave Zarin.
Thank you, and welcome to the Science Bowl, the science quiz program here in the Prince George's schools, where we test scientific literacy. We've been doing it this is our 36th year. We bring together elementary and middle school students and see how much they know about science, and boy, do they ever know a lot. Play along and see if you can keep up with them. Today is the start of a special set of games. We are at the end of the middle school competition in this year's competition. We will have a round-robin tournament. We have 3 teams here today. We've got Robert Goddard, Charles Carroll, and Martin Luther King, and they will each be playing each other twice. And the 2 teams with the highest total will move on to this year's championship match. So a lot at stake, but all of these players are terrific kids. They're elite players. They know their science. So let's get started here. Unlike having the students here in the studio, we are doing this, of course, on Zoom. This is a virtual competition. There are no buzzers involved. Each team will get 18 questions, different questions, but of comparable difficulty. We will use the same categories we've always used on Science Bowl: Zoo Parade, Green Things, Body Systems, Let's Get Physical, Science Potpourri, and Dateline Science. A 5, a 15, and a 25-point question in each one. We start out our teams with 50 points for showing up and looking good. So let's get started here. Let's now meet the first team playing today from Robert Goddard Middle School. Would you please say hello to Shofford? Shofford, wave to everybody at home if you would. Hey, Shofford, good game for you today. Sylvie is with us. Hey, Sylvie. Excellent player. Another great player is Teddy, the captain. Hey, Ted, wave to everyone if you would. That's great. All right, let's get started. Let's go to the Green Things category. We have a 5, a 15, and a 25-point question. Here's your 5-point question. Teams, the tree that grows these fruits, the most popular fruit in the world, is not technically a tree, but rather an herb, and reproduces not by seeds, but by cuttings.
Well, most popular fruit in the world, my best guess is a banana.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the only
banana.
thing.
You got it. It is indeed the banana, right? And there's actually a shortage, and in fact, it is the most delivered fruit. People are trying to order food from home. Bananas, the top fruit on the list. All right, for 15 points, I want you to look at a picture. The Green Things question for 15 points is a visual. A popular health food known as edamame is actually the immature seed pods of these beans used in making tofu.
Soybeans. I think it's soybeans.
Okay, soybeans.
It is soybeans, absolutely right. You're 2 for 2. 25 points in Green Things. Evidence that Antarctica was once covered in forests was found recently in a piece of fossilized charcoal that contained remnants of these G, as in giraffe, remnants of these G initial types of trees that include pine and firs.
G initial type of that includes. Can you repeat the question?
Evidence that Antarctica was once covered in forests was recently found in a piece of fossilized charcoal that contained remnants of these G initial types of trees that include pines and firs. Correct answer there was gymnosperms. Gymnosperms as opposed to angiosperms. Let's move on to the zoo. 5 points. Well, Shelob in Lord of the Rings was an evil one of these creatures. Author E.B. White's Charlotte was a kinder one.
Spider.
Spider is right. You got it. 15 points. Zoo. The two fastest land animals on four legs are the cheetah and the pronghorn variety of this animal that still races across America's West and once had to outrun cheetahs?
Antelope, right?
Antelope, probably.
That's right, the pronghorn antelope. Yes, indeed. They nothing really can catch them because cheetahs, of course, are long since extinct in North America. For 25 points in the zoo, we know sloths are very slow, like the one in Zootopia who worked at the DMV. Not only do they move slowly, but it takes them over a month to digest a meal, meaning this initial process also takes a long time in sloths.
I think metabolism.
Oh, yeah, I agree. That sounds good.
Absolutely right.
Metabolism.
Good answer, guys. It is metabolism. You got yourself 25 points there. Nicely done. Let's go to the body systems. All right, 3 more questions before you take your first break. You're doing fine. For 5 points. When gymnast Simone Biles complained at the Olympics of getting the twisties and fearing a loss of balance, they were likely caused by issues with the semicircular canals in her what?
Semicircular.
Semicircular canals are found in your ears. The fluid in there moves around and it helps you control your balance. Let's try the 15-point question in body systems. It's a multiple choice. If someone is taking an anticoagulant drug, would he or she be most in danger of getting a bloody nose, a torn muscle, or a case of diarrhea?
Can you repeat the options?
The option again, if you are taking an anticoagulant drug, there is danger of getting a bloody nose, a torn muscle, or a case of diarrhea.
I think a case of diarrhea because
I don't know.
it's anticoagulant.
Teddy, you choose. You're the captain. What's your answer,
I
please?
I think a case of diarrhea.
Case of diarrhea. Anticoagulant. Anti means against, coagulant means to clot. So if your blood doesn't clot, you can easily get a bloody nose. That's what we were looking for there. Let's go to 25 points in body systems. AFib, capital A hyphen fib, F-I-B, is a condition that causes an abnormal heartbeat that affects your heart's atria. This condition can also occur in the lower chambers of your heart, a condition that is almost always fatal unless treated right away. That is known as what? It has a 2-part question. What will we know it as? It's not AFib. It's going to be known as what? And tell me what it means.
Okay, so it's the AFib. So, do you know what fib means?
Huh? I really don't.
Okay, I had given you A, and I told you that was the atria. The atria. So the bottom of the heart is the ventricle, so it's V-fib, and that would stand for ventricular fibrillation. The F is fibrillation. 115 is your score at the halfway point. You're doing a great job here. We'll see you again in a few moments. See you, Robert Goddard. It is now time to meet the team from Charles Carroll Middle School, also vying for a chance to become one of the 2 finalists that will play for this year's middle school championship. Let's meet the team. They are terrific. Please say hello to Kevin. Hey, Kevin, wave to everybody at home if you would, please. Kevin's a great player, as is Omar. Omar, wave to everyone, please. Great to have you back. And rounding out this great triplet here is Jason. Jason, nice to see you here today. All right, guys, if you're ready, let's begin. Let's go to the green things questions, a 5, a 15, and a 25. Here's your 5-point question in green things. Hummingbirds can and do eat the occasional insect, especially when feeding their young. But mostly, Hummingbirds depend on this plant-produced substance to fuel their high-speed lifestyle.
What do you guys think? Can you repeat the question?
Yes, hummingbirds do occasionally eat insects, especially if they're feeding new birds, young birds. But mostly, hummingbirds depend on this plant-produced substance to fuel their high-speed lifestyle.
What do you guys think?
I feel like it'd be nectar more than
Yeah, I think it's nectar.
It's
nectar.
nectar. Nectar?
It is indeed nectar, and absolutely right. Let's go to 15 points. A parasitic plant in Asia that lives inside a vine until it produces a huge stinking flower has lost the ability to photosynthesize on its own because it no longer has genes to make these plant cell components where photosynthesis actually takes place. Name those plant cell components.
Chloroplast, right?
I think so.
Chloroplast? All right, chloroplast?
Chloroplast. Excellent answer. Yes, indeed. I have a picture for you for Green Things for 25. Let's have a look. You know, there are rats in Africa called crested rats that chew on the bark of a poisonous tree, and then they take the poison and they spread it all over their fur to keep predators away. Well, it's very similar to what monarch butterfly larvae do when they eat this plant that makes the butterflies too toxic to eat. Do you recognize that plant?
I think I need to repeat the question.
Can you repeat the question?
I sure can. We'll put the picture back up for you as well. The reason why animals do not eat monarch butterflies is because when monarch butterflies are in their larval stage, they feed on this plant that has a substance that makes them poisonous and just not taste very good. Name this plant, the only food of the monarch butterfly larvae.
What can this be? Looks like. What can it be? It's not cactus.
Yeah, it's not. It's not
like-
cactus. It's too small to be a cactus.
What you think, Kevin?
Dragon plant?
It's a good try. You see it a lot, especially in the fall, those pods on there, they fall off, and if they break open, it looks like little umbrellas are released, little white things flying all over the place, not unlike what you see from dandelions. That's milkweed. Milkweed, the only food of the monarch butterfly. Let's go to the zoo. For 5 points. Gossamer threads of silk are spun by spiders. But also, silk is spun by the domesticated silkworms, insects that are technically these developmental forms of the silkworm moth.
Larvae?
So a silkworm is what stage in metamorphosis as it develops into a silkworm moth?
I think
it's a
larvae.
yeah.
Larvae?
That's right, it is the larval stage. Let's go to 15 points in the zoo. The male of this marsupial species is called a boomer. The female is a flyer, and their baby is a joey.
Kangaroo, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
A kangaroo?
It is a kangaroo, absolutely. All right, listen to this. This is in Old English. It's a quote from a poet. Listen carefully and see if you can figure this out. Poet Jonathan Swift once said, and I quote, "So naturalists observe, a flea hath smaller fleas that on him prey. And these fleas have smaller fleas yet to bite 'em, and so proceed ad infinitum." Swift was describing a succession of these kinds of creatures.
Parasitic?
Parasites? Can you repeat the question?
What kinds of creatures is poet Jonathan Swift describing? So naturalists observe, a flea hath smaller fleas that on him prey. And these have smaller fleas yet to bite 'em, and so proceed ad infinitum. Swift was describing a succession of these kinds of creatures because of what they do.
Parasite creature? Parasitic creature?
I feel like it's parasitic.
Right. Parasitic creature?
Absolutely, they are parasites. That's known as hyperparasitism. Absolutely right. 3 more questions before you take your first break. For 5 points in body assessments, while arachnophobia is the fear of spiders, if you're suffering from arachibutyrophobia, you're afraid of peanut butter getting stuck on the roof of your what?
No. Ask them to repeat the term. Was that it?
Oh, you didn't hear? Can you repeat the term?
Arachibutyrophobia are people who are afraid of peanut butter getting stuck on the roof of their what?
I think so, yeah.
The mouth?
Yeah. No.
The mouth?
The mouth, that's right. You wouldn't think that people, but some people, that sends them, over the deep end. They can't have peanut butter stuck on the roof of their mouth. Good answer, good. For 15 points in body systems, as its name suggests, your body's tympanic bone, T-Y-M-P-A-N-I-C, your body's tympanic bone helps support the tympanic membrane, a body part better known as your what?
Tympanic membrane. What can that be? It supports like
the ear? The membrane? Because like
the ear?
like
You think the ear?
the ear, yeah, the ear.
The ear?
The membrane, like
Be more specific, please.
no, eardrum.
Eardrum?
Eardrum is what I want to hear, absolutely right. Like the timpani that you play in a band, tympanic membrane. All right, last question for you before we take your break. Washington Nationals pitcher Steven Strasburg, this is a while ago, was treated for thoracic outlet syndrome, a condition where nerves and blood vessels are pinched between your first rib, the thoracic outlet, and this bone, sometimes called your clavicle. For 25 points, what is the other name for your body's clavicle?
Clavicle.
It's like this.
Yeah.
What's
Can it
that?
be like rib cage?
No, you already said
No.
that. Yeah, they already said
Oh.
ribcage. I guess yeah,
Kevin, what's the consensus there?
Spine?
Not the spine. It's actually the collarbone. The collarbone is the other name for the clavicle. Still, you did a nice round, very nice round. In fact, you have 135 points. We have 9 more questions for you. We'll bring you back in a few moments and talk to you. Keep up your good work. It is now time to bring back that team from Robert Goddard Middle School. They currently have 115 points. 9 more questions to answer. Let's find out about the team. We have made a substitution. Schafford is now an alternate, and Sam is in for this second half here. Welcome, Sam. Let's start with the captain of the team, and Teddy. Teddy, tell us how you prepared for today's Science Bowl.
Well, during the practice, we studied things that we thought that we might need to know, especially questions that were asked a lot.
Yes, yes. Well, sometimes, we do repeat questions. Sometimes they're reworded questions, but certainly if you look at past shows, that's a great way to prepare. I know you're going to have a good second half here. Let's talk to Sylvie. Sylvie, let me ask you about your participation in Science Bowl. Has it been a good experience for you? Have you enjoyed it?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's great. Can you tell me what's on your shirt? It looks like you've got matching polo shirts there.
It says OGMS Science Bowl and my name.
I think that's great. I like official uniforms. You guys, you just you look terrific and you're playing so well. It's good to have you here. And Sam, nice to have you on board. Sam, tell me what you like about the game.
One of my favorite things is just being able to play and having all these cool science questions masked and ones that I usually wouldn't know the answer to, but I somehow do.
That's great. Well, you're being too modest. From what I remember before, you know an awful lot of them, and you have a curiosity about the world. All of you guys do. All right, Robert Goddard, let's go to the Let's Get Physical category. We have 3 questions, a 5, a 15, and a 25. Here's your 5-point question. Teams, Isaac Newton probably never used the phrase, "let sleeping dogs lie." But one of Isaac Newton's laws of motion said that a body at rest has a tendency to stay at rest, unless acted upon by an outside force. This tendency is described by what term?
Inertia?
Yeah, I agree. Inertia.
It is inertia. Good answer. Let's go to 15 points and let's get physical. When crude oil seeps to the surface of the earth and the lighter oil evaporates, it leaves behind this sticky substance used to pave and repair highways.
I think tar.
Tar?
Teddy?
Well, let's go with tar.
Let's go with tar. Okay, and you chose well. It is tar. 25 points. Astronomers have found evidence of this above Ganymede, one of Jupiter's moons. It is thought to have formed when the moon's ice sublimated.
I think an atmosphere.
Yeah, probably an atmosphere.
An atmosphere.
Be more specific, please.
An ozone layer?
Maybe clouds.
Maybe. I don't know.
Because it's like a part of the atmosphere.
What we're looking for here is water vapor, because sublimation, ice doesn't melt when it sublimates. It goes directly from solid to gas. So we're looking for water vapor there. You were dancing around it, but we can't give you those points. Let's go to potpourri for 5 points. This Christmas, there's a new toy. It's very popular. It helps with sensory development. It is a box of sand that, since the sand is moving, it's described by this adjective, the same one used to describe moving energy.
Kinetic sand?
Oh, kinetic sand, yeah.
That's right, it is kinetic. They call it kinetic sand. For 15 points in potpourri, if a doctor is checking you for abnormal heart activity, he or she might order up an EKG, which stands for, that's E is in elephant, K is in kangaroo, and G is in giraffe. He or she might order an EKG to check on abnormal heart activity. Tell me what EKG stands for.
Electronic. Something along those lines.
I have no idea.
I think it might have something.
It's an electrocardiogram. Electrocardiogram is what we were looking for. Let's go to 25 points, and this is a visual in potpourri. We're taking you to the NICU, the neonatal intensive care unit in a hospital. You can see a baby in an incubator there. The temperature inside that incubator is usually between 82 and 86 degrees Fahrenheit, which helps to keep the baby's temperature at normal body temperature, which is 98.6. I will give you 25 points if you can tell me the equivalent temperature to 98.6 on the Celsius scale.
Okay. Do you know the formula?
Formula.
I really don't know. I can never
I'm
remember.
guessing it's a little less than 40 degrees Celsius. I think like 39 degrees Celsius.
What's boiling in Fahrenheit?
Boiling is like 212.
Yeah, so it would be like 40. Seems about right.
I think a little below 40. I think like 39 degrees Celsius.
You came so close, Sam, so close. It's 37 degrees Celsius. Of course, it varies a lot, but that is the number that is generally accepted. Let's go to Dateline for 5 points. Among the greatest scientific achievements of all time was the discovery of the molecular structure of this molecule that defines who we are.
Oxygen?
I don't think so.
It could be water.
Yeah.
Oh, it defines who we are. Like defines, maybe like DNA or something.
Oh. Can you repeat the question?
Among the greatest scientific achievements of all time was the discovery of the molecular structure of this molecule that defines who we are.
Yeah, I think DNA.
It is DNA. Good. Let's go to 15 points in Dateline. Try as they might, scientists have yet to disprove that objects fall at the same rate regardless of their size. That observation was noted by both this father of modern science, who also invented a telescope, and by this physicist, perhaps the best-known scientist ever, who developed a theory of relativity. Give me the names of those two scientists. The father of modern science, who also invented a telescope, and this physicist best known for his theory of relativity.
Albert Einstein.
And Galileo.
Yeah.
You got them both. Excellent. Good. 15 points. Let's get the 25-pointer here, Goddard. The 7 continents that we have today were once only 2 giant land masses. One was called Gondwana, that eventually separated into the southern hemisphere continents. The larger mass, this P as in Paul initialed supercontinent, broke up into the northern hemisphere continents. Name that northern supercontinent.
Pangea. Oh, yeah,
it is
definitely.
Pangea for 25 points. Great way to end the game, guys. All right, your final score is 185, Goddard. Let's see if that holds up. But again, this will be added to the tally that you earn in the second game. So good first effort here. All right, we've brought the team from Charles Carroll back. They currently have 135 points. Let's see what they can add to that tally in this second round of 9 more questions. Let's find out just a little bit about each of our players here. If you haven't had the pleasure of meeting them on a previous show, Kevin is the captain. And Kevin, you guys, you seem to finish each other's thoughts. How did you prepare for this game today?
We did a group of work. We basically just reviewed all the games from the past, from like 2019, 2020, and we did it all together.
Well, that was a very wise strategy, because so many of the questions are similar. You get an idea of the kinds of things we ask, and it alerts you to keep an ear out and an eye open for things that are happening in science that might be of use, because we're trying to increase scientific literacy, and you're already there, young man. You're a great player. Let's meet your teammates. Let's talk to Omar. Omar, let's have you come back if you would, and tell me what you like about the competition. I hope you like it.
Well, I just like the competitiveness of the competition, and like the questions really appealed to me.
I'm glad, because yeah, we're trying to show people at home what great students you are, and being a great student means today just being open to all kinds of information and a curiosity about how things work, and you guys are acquitting yourselves so beautifully. Keep it up in the second half here. And let's talk to Jason. Jason, you ready for your last 9 questions here? You look cool as a cucumber. Are you relaxed today?
I'm kind of nervous because it's close to the finals, or it's like semifinals, so I'm pretty nervous for it.
Absolutely. Well, you know, nervousness, I've always said, keeps you on your game. It keeps you sharp. If you just are too relaxed, sometimes you make mistakes that you regret later on. How do you know so much science? Because you do.
Me and my team, we like to go over the games and review them, and we also, our teacher, Miss Chaudhry, likes to teach us about stuff.
Yeah, thank you for that nice tribute to Miss Chaudhry, and thank you for sharing that with us. All right, Charles Carroll, it is now time for the second 9 questions. So if you're ready, guys, here is Let's Get Physical for 5 points. Making lollipops like the ones barbers give to kids. Well, all you need is sugar, corn syrup, flavoring, and the citric version of this kind of chemical that always turns litmus paper red.
Citric acid. They use that in a lot of candies.
Citric acid?
It is citric acid, indeed. For 15 points. The opposite of ultrasonic, which are sounds that are far above the range of our human hearing, like those emitted by a dog whistle, are these kinds of sounds that are far below our hearing range, the kinds of sounds that elephants can hear, but we can't. The opposite of ultrasonic.
Yes, hyposonic?
Hypo? What?
Hypo.
Hyposonic?
Hyposonic?
Yeah, because like hypo means low.
All right.
I don't know.
All right. Hyposonic?
There is something called hypersonic, but what we're looking for here is infra or subsonic. Subsonic or infrasonic is what we would have accepted there. Let's try the 25-point question. You know, if you've always wanted to be an astronaut, you can go out to Dulles Airport right now, pay $7,500, and there's an organization called Zero G Flights. They will take you up on a flight that goes up, and it does this, guys. It goes up, and then it arcs, it comes down, it goes up, and it comes down, and every time it goes down, you have about 3 minutes of weightlessness, just as you would have if you went into space. That arc shape that the pilot takes in the sky is described by this P, as in Paul, P initial term, that can also describe those dishes on the sideline of football games with microphones that can pick up sounds. What is that P initial term that describes those arcs and those special dishes?
What are you saying?
Can you repeat the question?
Yes. The name of the arc flown by a pilot who will take you up, that goes up, it curves, it comes down on the other side, goes up, comes down again. That shape is what P initial shape that is also the term that describes those dishes with microphones in the center that they use on the sides of football games to pick up the sounds on the field.
It's a podium, right?
Nickname?
I don't know.
Podium.
Is it?
Pretty sure podium. Okay. It makes sense. Podium?
It's called a parabola, a parabolic mirror or a parabolic flight. Tough question, good try. Let's move on to potpourri for 5 points. 2 all-white orcas, 2 all-white killer whales were spotted together near Japan. The whiteness of the whales, caused by a lack of melanin in the skin, could be caused by albinism or something called leucism. If the whales are true albinos, the way to check would be to look at their eyes, which would be what color?
Pinkish red.
Pinkish red?
Yeah, like pinkish red.
Yeah, I guess.
Like pinkish red?
Pinkish red is correct, yes, because you can see the blood vessels in the retina there because there's no coloration in the iris. Good answer. 15 points. Try this if you haven't ever. Lifesavers are not a popular candy anymore. Well, for some people they are. But if you crush a wintergreen lifesaver in a darkened room, the breaking of the sugar bonds will give off light. A phenomenon not unlike the generation of light in fireflies. In this case, the candy's case, it is called not bio this, but tribo this.
Triboluminescence.
Luminescence. Luminescence.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
Luminescence.
Luminescence is right. You got it, guys. 15 points. For 25 points, the Delta variant of the COVID virus has been found to be as contagious as the virus causing this childhood disease that can reappear in later life as shingles.
Chickenpox? Right. Chickenpox.
It is chickenpox. You got it for 25 points. Excellent work there, guys. Let's move on to Dateline. For 5 points, I have a picture for you. I'm going to take you off the coast of Scotland. And there you can see anchored a huge turbine to generate electricity. How does it work? By the daily movement of water that are caused by the moon. What are those daily movements of water caused by the moon that actually help to generate the electricity and move those turbines?
Tides.
Tides is right for 5 points, absolutely. For 15 points, please name this bleeder disease that is inherited. It's a disease, it's an H initial disease The blood will not clot, and is famous for spreading through the royal families of Europe because of intermarriage.
Hemophilia. Oh, yeah.
It is hemophilia. You got it. You got it. And for 25 points, the first American to go into space was this man. The same man who was the only lunar astronaut to play golf on the moon. And it was his name that was given to the rocket that recently took Jeff Bezos into space and back. Can you name that astronaut for 25 points?
Wait, I don't know if they said moon or space.
Repeat the question, please.
This astronaut was the very first American to ever go into space. He was also the only lunar astronaut who played golf on the moon. And his name was given to the rocket ship that recently took Jeff Bezos on his 10-minute flight into space.
I don't remember.
Oh, Jeff. Wait, no.
They named the
rocket.
rocket.
I remember. Oh, no. It's like...
Guys, the correct answer there, it was Alan Shepard. Alan Shepard, and it was the Shepard rocket ship that took Bezos up. Still a good round. You end the game, gentlemen, with 205 points. 205. Congratulations. Well, it was a terrific game, and the scores are very close to being identical, as we expected. Again, these are the elite students. They have gone through preliminary competition. This first of our 3 round-robin games ends with Robert Goddard with 185 points, Charles Carroll with 205. Those tallies will be added to their subsequent scores to see which team comes back to play for the championship on November 23rd. Terrific work with everybody out there. Wave, please, all of you at Charles Carroll, Kevin and Omar and Jason. Mr. Hendershot is out there. He's at least listening in, we know that. And Miss Chaudhary, congratulations to your team. And also congratulations to the team from Robert Goddard, Shofford, Sylvie, Teddy, and Sam. And Miss Duprez is out there. So we will all see you back again later today for subsequent games in the round robin. Great work, guys. And I hope to see you again here on the Science Bowl. Until then, I'm Dave Zarin. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.